What's going on, everyone? So the Milwaukee Bucks are a very interesting case, right? Obviously, this offseason, they went and traded for Damian Lillard in a shocking twist of events. And the Milwaukee Bucks are currently sitting as the second seed in the Eastern Conference at 28-13 on the season. They are tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder for the third best record in the NBA. And look, there's times where the Milwaukee Bucks look terrifying. And then there are times where they look terrible. And Damian Lillard is not having the best season. He's kind of had a lot of struggles. Giannis has been ridiculous this year. But Damian Lillard has struggled, to put it nicely. On the surface, you're like, oh, he's averaging 25, 4, and 7, right? It's not that bad. That looks good. But then, you look at his stats, and if you've actually watched him play, he's a liability defensively, which everyone knew. But he also hasn't been efficient, which is a big problem. He's shooting 42.7% from the field total. He's only shooting 35% from three this season, which is not great, as he's a career 37%, and he has multiple seasons in which he shot 40% on high, 10 threes a game. And this season, he's averaging 8.5 and shooting 35.2%. It's not good. He is shooting 50% from two-point range, but he only has an EFG of 51.4, which is his lowest he's had since basically the 2021-2022 season with Portland. It's not good. Not good at all. Because, again, he's a liability defensively, and he hasn't fit the way that you would hope and had that proper balance. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks defensively as a whole just haven't been very good. They lack that Drew Holiday. They lack that point of attack guard. They lack that point of attack defense. So all of a sudden, the Milwaukee Bucks are apparently interested in trying to acquire Dejounte Murray. And before we dive into it, I don't think it makes any sense to go get Dejounte Murray, for one. Two, I have no idea how they even trade for Dejounte Murray. But we'll dive into that here in a moment. But look, Dejounte Murray could help in that, loss of Drew Holiday, assuming he can get back to being that quality point of attack defender. He's been terrible defensively since he's been on Atlanta. But this was a guy that was an all defensive type point guard. A guy that, when he's allowed to play point guard, is up there with the best of them. He is a legit athletic. He's shooting the three ball well, shooting 40% from three this season. He's only 27 years old. Would give you athleticism, would give you foot speed, help out in transition. Him and Giannis, you can already see the lobs and just breaking out in transition. Dejounte Murray, on paper, could make a lot of sense. Right? Give you another 25-5 guy. Problem is that, I don't know how Damian Lillard, and Giannis work. Because Dejounte Murray could be your point guard, right? But, is he just your initiator? Right? Because Dame is your point guard. So, on defense, are you putting Murray at the 2, but on offense, you're putting him at the point? Because the problem is that he is not very good off the ball. And him and Trae Young aren't working. I don't just magically see him and Damian Lillard working. Now, you could say, okay, well, what they could do is just, Dejounte Murray plays the point guard, Damian Lillard plays the 2. Maybe you have Middleton at the 3, Giannis at the 4, Lopez at the 5. Now you're terrifying, right? That would match up with, a team like the Boston Celtics. And you're already second in the Eastern Conference. You had a guy like Dejounte Murray. If he can continue to shoot 40+%, right? You basically upgrade your Malik Beasley, right? Who, don't get me wrong, Malik Beasley's been just in fuego for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's been very good for the Milwaukee Bucks. But he's not Dejounte Murray, right? And the versatility Dejounte Murray would provide, give you a point of attack guard. Look, Dejounte Murray definitely has his pros. But again, how do you get there? Right? Are you trading Chris Middleton to get there? Which I mean, you can't. I mean, you have to get more than just Dejounte Murray if you're trading Chris Middleton, which maybe, maybe you could get like I don't know, a Bogdanovich or something like that, and maybe take Murray and, or not Murray, take Middleton and something else, right? I don't know. I mean, you're not that far off. You're only, 8 million or so, 9 million. But again, what else are you, like, what are you giving up that makes sense for Atlanta is my point, right? Because they don't have a ton of assets. It's not like they're strapped with a bunch of young guys. And it's not like they have just like this treasure trove of draft picks. Like, what would Atlanta want? Right? Like, even if they were willing to trade Chris Middleton, does Chris Middleton make any sense for Atlanta if they're like trying to do this rebuild or whatever? Right? Because it's not like Chris Middleton's 27 or 26. Like, he's 32 now. Right? He's making a pretty penny. Based on reports, Atlanta doesn't want to take on a bunch of salary. So it's like, what else are you getting? You're getting, like Beauchamp? You're getting Andre Jackson, I guess? You still got to match salaries. So, I mean, maybe you throw in like a Jay Crowder or a Pat Connaughton. Okay. But it's not like they have a bunch of just like young quality pieces, right? Milwaukee's a team that's basically all in right now. I just don't see a scenario where you end up landing Dejounte Murray, personally. If they can, great. But the only way I see you getting there is to basically trade Chris Middleton, which, okay, sure, but like, how much better does that make you, if any? Right? Like, because now it's like, you're probably thin out on the perimeter defensively, although maybe you go with like a Jay Crowder and he can be. It just doesn't add up to me. To me, it just kind of sounds like a name just thrown out there. Maybe a leverage play because you have teams like, the Knicks and the Sixers and the Heat, and then obviously the Lakers that are all interested in Dejounte Murray, the San Antonio Spurs, right? Maybe it's just a name out there to kind of like entice some of these other teams. Like, hey, the Milwaukee Bucks, they're interested in Dejounte Murray now, and you don't want them to get Dejounte Murray. It's kind of what this feels like to me, because I just don't see a necessary path to get to Dejounte Murray that makes sense for Atlanta. Right? I mean, they're trying to trade everybody. Right? If they were like a piece away, then maybe. And like, maybe you could argue, okay, well, Chris Middleton would be a better fit than Dejounte Murray next to Trae Young, because then Trae Young can keep the ball in his hands and Middleton kind of be your number 2. Right? Like, maybe you try that, but I don't see it. Right? I guess Atlanta could like take Chris Middleton, give up, Murray, and then whatever else. Maybe you're throwing in like a Sadiq Bey to kind of help offset some of the loss of Middleton. And then whatever small salary or whatever to get to the money. And, you're taking back Chris Middleton. You ride out the season and see like, what is a roster of like Trae Young, Hunter, Middleton look like, right? With Clint Capella, and like, what does that look like? Does that look good? Does it not? Right? And then maybe if it doesn't work, you look to flip them in the offseason. Maybe get some other assets. I mean, that could be a possibility. Look, I mean, if Milwaukee could land Dejounte Murray, especially if he can get back to even anywhere close to that all defensive Dejounte Murray, then you basically just replaced Drew Holiday, which is desperately needed, clearly. I mean, the Bucks really need like a point of attack defensive guard. And the hope would be that Dejounte Murray can get back to that and be that. Problem is, if Dejounte Murray is basically the defender he has been with Atlanta, then they're going to be like, Milwaukee's going to be bad defensively. And then on top of that, it's just like it could make for a clunky fit. And can he maintain the 40% from 3-point range when he's a career 34% 3-point shooter? Right. So now he's the third option. How does he work as a third option? Right. Also, he struggles finishing around the rim. It's just, I don't know. You could get worse, as weird as that may sound. Right? Because again, Damian Lillard's already struggling. Although you could, hey, if he moves off ball, right, and he doesn't have to focus on playmaking and everything else, well then, maybe he can kind of pick it up offensively. It's kind of your hope. But I don't know. I just, if it happens, cool, right? It would make for a very interesting Bucks and Celtics matchup. I'll tell you that. But I don't know. Personally, I'm not sold. Like I don't see the path to that. They definitely need to replace Drew Holiday. They really need a point of attack guard bad. But I don't know if Dejounte Murray is the answer in that regard. And two, again, I don't know how they make that trade. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Think that the Milwaukee Bucks should go and get Dejounte Murray? Do you think that they even can get Dejounte Murray? Or do you think, I don't see it either? I don't see a path to that without Middleton. Do you think Middleton even makes sense for the Atlanta Hawks? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me to enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.